Greetings! We can go the regular intro, I suppose, but, you know, let's just streamline a bit. Is there anyone in the chat who does not know who I am? If so, raise your hands, figuratively or otherwise, and we can remedy this rapidly. It's a pretty easy guess if you don't know, probably from the stream, or the name, so on, so forth. Greetings in chat to K-Show, Bishop, SCP 100. Fuck Norris, you're wrong, and Draconath Firesoul. Glad you can make it. Anyone else want to say hi before I move on with things? Because you can. But you don't have to. Just an option. One of the first things I get away is that I'm live with Kaylet, who is, yes, in the chat as well. Also here, in the call.
Wait, what? I'm not ready.
Okay, I'd give you grief about not knowing my schedule, but I did just move the show up an hour. So, you know, if you were expecting this to go live in another hour, I suppose I've really caught you with your pants down. Figuratively. Hopefully not objectively. And if that is the case, for the rest of you, well, you're not on camera, so what are you worried about?
What I do in the privacy of my own home is my own business.
Precisely. I'm wearing pants, and that's all I need to be concerned with. But basically, it's a jumpsuit. But I'm wearing pants underneath it, too, as far as you can tell. Welcome to another SCP review. I haven't chosen one to start with, meaning that if you're really quick, if there's one you're really wanting to do, you probably should put that in the chat leading up to this, because there's been a lot of time to schedule, you know, to put it in there. Greetings in chat, Spectre, pound 799. Glad you could make it. Anyone in chat I have missed? I don't think so. I will try to dispense wrenches at some point, but it's a bit fiddly and I don't really care. Besides, no one ever uses them for anything, which is exactly as it should be. But simultaneously, what value is it if it's not used for anything? I suppose what I'm saying is, you know, I kind of miss the Russian bots. It gave everyone something to hit their wrenches with. In the arms of an angel. Well, presumably they're gone for good. But, or at least targeting more successful streams. Either way, we just have to move on. But they'll always be here. Right, well, since there are no present requests, we'll move on shortly, but there's something I need to stress. We have a raffle again, once again provided by the generous Exodus. Hard Space Shipbreaker. It'll be handed off with raffle numbers. By the way, Spectre pound 799, aren't you a creator as well? Please note, towards the end of the stream, you're perfectly welcome to promote your own channel and content in a link in the chat. You already have a wrench. That also allows that. Also, you know, if you have your audio set up, you know, this is... Are you on the Arklabs Volunteer Reserve Discord server? Pound 799 Spectre? Not necessarily in that order? Maybe I should give you a leak. You could just pop on and take part in the analyzing of SCPs. Okay. K-Troll has requested SCP-34540. Oh, well, if you're already in the server, then yeah, you can just join Green Room if you want. It's optional. I'm going to trust that your audio quality is at least half as mine. Probably better, though. Honestly, I'm really working with what amounts to an echoey hat box, so I expect it'd be easy to upgrade over that. I mean, wide variety of acoustic tiles, and it seems to have done fuck all. Only that's not true. It was much worse before this. Much worse. SCP-3540 was requested first by K-Shoal, then we'll see about fitting in 3114, and then what Kaylet arbitrarily requested with an arbitrary number. Which is, you know, fine, of course. SCP-3540 coming up. Okay, well, fair enough then. Notably, the schedule will be maintained for quite some time yet. So, every Thursday, this time, if you can, you're welcome as well. SCP-3540, Object Class Euclid. Oh no, don't queer the Reaper. Special Chain Procedures. A list of all possible locations where SCP-3540 may occur should be compiled throughout the month of September. Once the event begins, a mixture of satellite imagery and ground surveillance could be used to identify the property undergoing an SCP-3540 event. Once identified, SCP-3540's location should be monitored throughout its active basis. Contact with sapient entities associated with the anomaly is allowed as needed. Did you want to take alternating paragraphs, Garrett?
I'm sorry. I was not actually planning on doing this.
Oh. Well, then
yeah,
don't.
Well, I apologize for the inconvenience. I thought that you were going to have channels.
I just thought, since you were here... Well, okay then. I guess I'll just carry on. Again, all creators in chat towards the end of the stream, not now, but at the end, you're welcome to put up your links to your own stuff. That's been an open offer for the longest time. Rarely seized. Agents embedded in local authorities are to intercept any reporting on the anomalous phenomenon from local or national news agencies and rewrite or edit the articles and segments to remove SCP-3540, SCP-3540-1, or SCP-3540-2, Foundation personnel, and, parsing was wrong. Foundation personnel and local government are to encourage the community to have trick-or-treating events in early November instead of the traditional October 31st, citing weather, commercial, or other reasons. Residual psychoactive and amnestic compounds are to be added to the water supplies in the locations where SCP-3540 is active. Once the event has concluded, disinformation teams are to ensure all inhabitants do not retain memory of SCP-3540. Description: SCP-3540 is an annual phenomenon affecting abandoned properties in suburban neighborhoods throughout the continental United States that lasts for the entirety of October. A number of factors appear to correlate with where the phenomenon occurs, mostly pertaining to the demographics and location of the neighborhood, such as low rate of crime, an above-average population of children below the age of 10, and in close proximity to both cemeteries and trendy or popular dining establishments. The majority of properties involved in SCP-3540 events were previously owned by individuals who have recently died. A house affected by SCP-3540 will begin to undergo a number of changes, both in its internal and external appearance. Externally, a large number of family decorations will appear in the yard and on the outward walls of the structure. Although the decorations mimic common store-bought materials, they are actually authentic, non-synthetic articles. The house will also appear to undergo a full renovation and restoration throughout the SCP-3540 event, despite no actual work construction observed. Internally, the house will manifest furniture in the rooms, dark curtains on the windows, and appropriate appliances for general living and welfare. During an SCP-3540 event, the house will appear to be occupied by a pair of humanoid entities, designated SCP-3540-1 and SCP-3540-2. SCP-3540-1 refers to itself as Maurice, and SCP-3540-2 refers to itself as Lance. These entities are generally seen wearing long black robes with large hoods that obscure their heads and faces. The entities cannot be physically seen during the day, but after sunset will manifest in various parts of the house and will engage in typical household chores and common activities, including cleaning, preparing, and consuming meals, folding laundry, and data expunged. I'm pretty sure I can guess what data expunged is, but we're not going into that. It's fine. It doesn't really belong there anyway. It's a bit intrusive, really. SCP-3540-1 and SCP-3540-2 are amiable with staff and will often invite them in for dinner. The entities will often make claim to frequent local restaurants or shops. However, no evidence has been found to corroborate these statements. Addendum. On 21-10-2017, Agent K. Gittings contacted SCP-3540-1 and SCP-3540-2 due to their decorations violating several minor zoning laws. The two entities recognize Giddings from previous SCP-3540 events and invite her inside the house. The conversation has been recorded below. Voice sounds familiar, you say. I should hope so. It's mine. Thank you for keeping track of the likes. I'm turning up to 7. If we get up to 13, I will be very cheerful and say yay. But I have forgotten to install the confetti launchers. Again. What can I say? I never pretended to be perfect. Okay, on to this interview with 3 roles, which I need to try to do all 3 without being terribly obnoxious. This could be hard. Hello? Okay, it's so great to see you again. I thought you lived over in Montana. What are you doing in our neck of the woods? My partner had to move, so I moved with her, but I'm working with the city. I just wanted to let you know that. Lance, you'll never guess who's here. Come say hi. SCP-35402 enters the kitchen doorway and waves at Agent Giddings. No, it's fine. I'm telling you that. So the decorations. Oh, don't worry about it. Kay, come in. We found this really good tea shop, and you have to try this gin me we got. It's, according to the guy who runs the place, it's from the Wuyi Mountain area. It's just fantastic. I need to ask my boss first. That's fine. I'm going to start boiling water anyways, because, damn, I forgot we had that stuff. After conferring with her superior, Agent Giddings was given permission to enter the premises and interact with the entities. SCP-35401 leads the agent into the house and gestures towards the couch before entering the kitchen. I'll be back in a jiffy. You want any sugar or cream or anything? No, thank you. Agent Giddings begins to observe the room and move her body camera around to record it. Decorations and souvenirs have been placed throughout the room, typically from cities in the southern U.S. states. Multiple pictures can be seen hung on the walls. However, there does not appear to be visible subjects in the pictures. Besides the door, 2 harvesting tools are hanging off of hooks. After several minutes, the 2 entities return carrying 3 mugs. SCP-35401 places 1 in front of Agent Giddings. 2 harvesting tools, by the way. I couldn't possibly be bothered to say they're sieves. The implication is that there are lots of Reapers, and a particular gay couple of Reapers are manifesting in these suburbs. And apparently Foundation thinks the best way to interact with them is, of course, ensuring that they encounter as few straight people as possible, which is kind of a weird policy. But in any case, greetings, Jinxie. Look, thank you. This wasn't by design. I just was working on something and I didn't have time to switch into the usual uniform. Look, it's important to wear the right attire when experimenting with some things versus other things. In some cases, you want something bright white, so you can notice spots of something that would discolor it that are probably potentially rather toxic. Sometimes you want something that is dark, that you don't have to worry about what's on it, because whatever's staining it is not toxic. And quite frankly, in this case, you just don't want it to show up. Not this jumpsuit is particularly filthy. Anything but. No, it's really quite clean. Probably. I'd have to look closely to find out. Yes, fine, thanks. Did you hear Bobby voice and Elmer Fudd impersonation? No. Right, where was I? Agent Giddings, right. Back to SCP-35401. Sorry it took so long, Kay. Someone forgot to wash the dishes last night. SCP-3502. Hey, don't blame this on me. I was putting up the decorations, you know, like you asked me to. Yeah, actually, speaking of decorations, I came over to tell you that you need to remove some of them. One of your inflatables and a bunch of your cobwebs are your neighbor's properties. Both entities appear to look at each other for several seconds. I told you that was not true. No, I told you not to put the stuff in your lands. No. I was very specific. Remember, you telling me, and I quote, cover that shit in web. And I said, it wasn't all tree. And then you yell at me for ruining your aesthetic. I meant the aesthetic of the bushes. Why would I want to bend the tree? Because I thought that's what you were wondering. God, this is going to be a pain in the ass to clean up. I am so sorry, Kate. I'll get on it tomorrow. Thank you. I don't want you guys to get in trouble. Actually, that reminds me, Kate. How long have you been in town? Just since September. Oh, wow. We've only been here since the 1st. But have you had the chance to try that Barrio Steakhouse place up the highway? The steaks are way better than they have a right to be. I actually knew the owner's grandfather, and he was such a nice man. Super understanding when we had to take him. No, that place is pretty expensive. I have to eat like college student for a week to afford there. Man, you are missing out. Usually me and Mari try not to go to the same place each year for vacation, but I am very tempted to convince you to come back here next year. You will convince me of nothing. Oh, just like how I never convinced you to try that seafood joint in Charleston. That's different. You find me asking, is it your vacation? You guys do this every year? Yep, our jobs can be emotionally taxing, so we're forced to take 2 weeks off, but we just save our vacation time from the rest of the year and take a whole month. It's great, super relaxing. We always take the same month off too, because we actually met in October at that funeral, and you know what we do, Kate? Halloween is like a holiday made for us. I just love seeing all the little kids in their costumes. It's just so adorable. Makes it worth doing my job. They just delight me. I would love to adopt if we could, but the agency never seemed to like our paperwork. Well, this tea was lovely, but I have to head out. I still have some paperwork to file at the office. Oh, that's fine. Thanks for stopping by. Tell your partner that we said hello, and feel free to come by anytime for dinner. Lance can make chicken parmesan that's to die for. And that was SCP-3540, Don't Queer the Reaper, which is kind of charming, but I don't know why they had to ensure that all the adults were just happened by coincidence to be gay and lesbian couples. It's fine, though. Really, I had to do all those voices on my own, and I've probably pissed off people. It's not fair. In any case, I wish this Reapers well. They seem to have a pretty good job. I can't imagine what the... Look, we've seen some pretty crappy adoption agencies signing off on a whole lot of really crappy adoptions. I don't know. 2 harvesters of souls are kind of beating the curve, especially when it has anything about the tragic saga of oh, I don't want to think about Desmond, so I'm not going to. But yes, SCP-3540. Any thoughts on this particular SCP, everyone? It reminded me very much of your wrongs, things that he put in my journal, featuring RoboCop banging C-3PO. Well, not actually banging, actually, they were just cutely cuddling, which was deemed, of course, gay, but strictly speaking, none of them have the parts to really, do any of that. And honestly, who would begrudge RoboCop any sort of romance he can manage, even if it is with C-3PO? Yes, he was a straight man and had a son, but I imagine you get weirder and weirder the longer that your brain is basically in a mechanical jar. And so C-3PO has a male voice. I'm pretty sure that can be adjusted. That is annoying, the idea that you can just transfer your brain into something and it'd work out just fine. People think their minds are entirely in their brains. But no, sorry. That's kind of a reductionist view. I'm afraid that your brain is the core, is the majority of it, but your thinking... it hinges upon everything else too. We're all whole packages, not just meat mechs with some grey matter plopped in the cockpit. But that's neither here nor there. Any further thoughts on this particular SCP? Quite frankly, if this building shows up in your neighborhood, I guess it speaks very well of your neighborhood. Curiously, all it would take is one offense seeker to look over the track record of where this house popped up for Lance and Maurice to be immediately labeled racists. Correct me if I'm wrong. Odds seem pretty high. So I also assume that they can't be skeletons in robes. Because, again, what the hell do skeletons in robes eat? Which also raises the question, how did Discworld's death know what a curry tasted like? Does Discworld's death eat? I didn't think so. I mean, he is very much a skeleton. Oh well, wouldn't begrudge it. Big fan of Discworld's death. If I can choose what death picks me up at the end, I'm holding out for that one personally. What was the next SCP? Well, before we get to the next SCP request, this is a quick reminder. We have a game to raffle, once again courtesy of the generous Arketer, who passes along some of the games that they don't have a home for, in the hopes that we can find a good home for this game with you. Or you. Or one of you, at least. In this case, we are looking at Hard Space Shipbreaker, and as usual, I've loaded up a trailer for it.
Cutter, remember this.
That
Measure twice.
SCP could be a sitcom.
Cut once.
Yes, easily.
The tethers are your friends.
I'll be a pretty decent one.
Don't sweat it. Happens to the best of us.
Ship Breaker.
One bad move.
Ship Breaker. Salt Space Shipbreaker is an entirely different game.
Oh no, oh
no! Injury detected. Please return to work. Remember, the company is your family, and we will keep you safe from harm.
Okay, Nexus Hunter is in on the raffle. Would anyone else like to join the raffle for Hard Space Shipbreaker? Notably, I will need to have access to you either through the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, and better known as Twitter still, and probably forevermore, or through Discord, because I'll need to send you the key to activate it on Steam. Any other, anyone else wanted to join the raffle? I mean, just Nexus, that's fine. I'll still roll for it. It'll be a bit anticlimactic, though. No? Dracon's Fire Soul is in the raffle, which means that I should probably make a note now. I mean, I'm not likely to forget there are 2 people in the raffle, but just to be safe, it's also important to remember who signed up first. Just seems a bit more fair that way. Any other people interested in the raffle? You have until like about 10 minutes to the end of this stream. That's roughly that time I'll be rolling, and by the time I start rolling, I'm not going to be taking any more applicants. So, Draconoth and Nexus, you are signed up for the game raffle. And with that sorted, by the way, if you know of anyone who would like this game as well, why not invite them to watch the show? Thus they can enter as well. They'd be quite welcome to do so. Okay. Let's see, what was the next SCP request? I believe it was, let's see, right, 3114. No, honestly, that would be a better sitcom than we've seen in a while. The implication is that post-death, one might be able to get a job as a Reaper. I don't think I like that. I kind of like the idea of one death, just keeping it down. Just for the uniform expertise. Again, big Discworld death fan. If you have to hire people to do the job, I'm guessing variety varies. Quality varies, inevitably. And I can't help but suspect it would really suck at the end of your lifetime to be picked up by an incompetent death. Someone who's better at the job is to be hoped for. Then again, we'll never know. until it's too late to tell anyone else. SCP-3114, Object Class, Euclid. SCP-3114 is held in a 3 meter by 7 meter enclosure surrounded by reinforced steel with impact glass windows for observation. A smaller 1 meter by 2 meter cell is attached to contain SCP-3114 when its enclosure needs to be entered for maintenance, enrichment, or inspection. When SCP-3114 needs to be moved from one section to another, a projection of a human subject will be displayed on a wall in the desired area. Once SCP-314 attacks the projection, the door will be closed. No personnel are to enter SCP-3114's enclosure outside of approved testing procedures. Description: SCP-3114 is an animate human skeleton. Oh dear. We've done this one, but it's a good one. We'll do it again. We're up to 8 likes with 11 concurrent viewers. The odds I'll get to 13 likes do seem low. But that's alright. I shall carry on, regardless, for I'm a trooper. SCP-3114 is an animate human skeleton. It stands approximately 1.6 meters tall and weighs 30 kg. Oh, no, it's fallen directly into the fire, so I would have done it a long time ago. So it's fine. I've already signed off on it. We've got the time. Once I tried to avoid repeating unless, well, paid. But that required keeping track of everything that had been done. And it just wasn't worth the money. To keep track of it, that is. Not that anyone was paying me to do that. In any case, moving on. SCP-314 is an animate human skeleton. It stands approximately 1.6 meters tall and weighs 30 kilograms. Though it has no articulation or connective tissue, its individual bones remain in place as they would in a human body. Individual bones can be pulled out of position, but quickly return to the correct position when there is no longer an outside force acting on them. Although SCP-3114 is made of similar minerals as human bone, it's much denser and stronger. I feel like it should be more dense, requiring more than 3 times as much force to break. A broken bone will mend, though it takes several weeks for a larger bone. There is no current explanation for SCP-3114's ability to move. Its observed range of motion in its joints are similar to a healthy adult female's. It is much stronger than a human of comparable size. It is able to lift at least 250 kilograms with one arm and has a measured grip strength of 270 kilograms. Its maximum observed foot speed is 60 kilometers per hour. SCP-3114 is able to react to visual stimuli with an apparent field of view similar to a human's. However, it does not react to sound or smell. It responds to touch, but it is difficult to test its sensitivity. SCP-314 has made some attempts to communicate. See entry 16 of the experiment log. It is extremely aggressive and it immediately attempts to attack any time it sees a human or other biological humanoid, referred to as targets from here on. When it sees a potential target, SCP-3114 will take the quickest, most direct route to it. Only avoiding obstacles cannot push through. Once it reaches a target, it will latch on with its hands and begin squeezing around the throat. Once the target has stopped moving, SCP-3114 begins tearing openings in the target's body and pulling out its bones over the course of several hours. Once it has completely removed the target's skeleton, it will attempt to pull the remaining flesh over itself. This tears the flesh into multiple parts. Once the body is no longer in one large piece, it loses interest in it. When no target is present, SCP-3114 is fairly docile. It explores in the enclosure, but does not attempt to escape. SCP enrichment objects such as blocks, tires, cardboard boxes, and sticks are provided and replaced at regular intervals. When the lights are turned out for the night, SCP-3114 lays down and becomes motionless. Where was he? Though it resembles sleep, it is still capable of responding to visual stimuli. Experiment log excerpts entry 3. D1724, 120 kilogram adult male. Date redacted. D, who cares, attempted to run when he saw SCP-3114 approach. When it caught him, he attempted to fight back, was unable do appreciable damage to SCP-3114. However, this did agitate SCP-3114 a great deal, and damage done to the subject was greater than in other observed cases. SCP-314 gave up on removing the subject's bones partway through when it became clear the subject's body was not intact. The remains were placed in a corner. SCP-314 placed several sticks and a cardboard box on top of the subject as though burying him. Entry 5. Store mannequin dressed as Class D personnel. Date redacted. SCP-314 ran to the subject as expected, however it stopped several feet away. It stared at it for several minutes, then waved a hand in front of the subject's face. It seemed confused by lack of facial features. It proceeded to touch the top of the head, tapping it several times before it finally carried it back to the enclosure, where it placed it in the corner. It mimicked its pose several times while standing next to it. It removed the mannequin's clothes and attempted to wear them, however was unable to operate the belt and could not keep the pants from falling. After several attempts, it appeared to grow frustrated. It removed the clothes, then threw them and the mannequin into a corner. Entry 6. Female Gorilla. SCP-3114 approached the subject, but did not become aggressive until the subject stood up. SCP-3114 proceeded to engage in typical behavior. However, the gorilla was able to break SCP-3114's left ulna before it expired. SCP-3114 was unable to fit itself into the subject's body, giving up after the body was no longer intact. It was buried in the corner, as with previous subjects. Entry 9. Male Border Collie. Date redacted. For no good reason. SCP-3114 approached the subject cautiously. It examined it with its fingers and seemed surprised when the dog licked it. It interacted with the dog for 2 hours, becoming visibly more excited. It appeared to be engaging in play behavior. It wrestled with the dog without harming it and threw sticks for it. At one point, the dog attempted to bite SCP-3114's lower left leg, at which point SCP-3114 struck it sharply, frightening the subject. However, neither appeared to have been seriously injured, and both returned to their play. The subject was removed from the enclosure without incident. SCP-314 stood at the exit for several hours after the subject was removed, striking the walls repeatedly. However, it did not use enough force to cause damage to its enclosure. Aww. Maybe you'd be allowed to keep the dog. Entry 13. Human cadaver, female, 55 kilograms, 2 days after death, date redacted. SCP-3114 reacted as it would to a live human, including an attempt to crush its throat for several minutes, otherwise identical to tests with similarly sized live subjects. Entry 14. Human skeleton, articulated for teaching. Date redacted. SCP-3114 approached the subject but did not attack. Instead, it examined the subject for several minutes, then began to prod it. When this elicited no response, it ran its hand along the top of the subject's head. It then carefully moved the subject from its stand and carried it back to its enclosure. It cradled the subject for several hours. It then put the subject in the same position it takes during sleep periods. Entry 16. Human cadaver, male, 145 kilograms, 1 hour after death. Date also redacted. Subject reacted, as in log entry 13. However, it was able to keep the body intact while it placed itself inside. It walked around its enclosure for an hour while wearing the subject. When the projection was shown to clean the enclosure, SCP-3114 did not attempt to attack the projection. Instead, it walked up to it and began to attempt interaction. D-4843, an adult male, was placed in the enclosure when SCP-3114 approached. He attempted to escape. SCP-3114 grabbed him, but did so gently. It continued to try interacting with him, taking his hand and placing it on its face, trying to ape his movements, and embracing him. He reacted negatively to all interactions. After 3 hours, D-4843 was removed from the enclosure. SCP-3114 waited for several minutes at the door. Then it tore the subject off of itself. It kicked the remains into a corner, then lay down next to the subject of entry 14. It did not move for 3 days, at which point it resumed its normal behavior. So, it got depressed, apparently. This, by the way, though repeating it, is a good one. I have no objections to it. Notably, it's not the only animate skeleton the Foundation has in custody. Other past coverages was a skeleton that was perfectly sentient and just had a habit of viewing everyone else as clothing that it could wear. If I remember correctly, one of the Foundation researchers effectively merged with it, and thus they, well, got along better. I guess he just replaced his skeleton with one that he had to share a mind with now. I'm not sure that was a great idea. But, you know, at least we'll stop the skeleton from wearing other people in the future. Probably. Or maybe it'll just come with some sort of consensual thing if it needs a new suit. In any case, when it comes to this particular skeleton, it behaves in much the same way, only without, you know, the charm and eloquence. Which leads me to think that they would probably benefit by making a rubber dummy that looks appropriately human, but has a handy slot in the back so it can just slide right in there. Put it in with a suit. Make it look fairly decent. And then try to communicate with it. With a researcher who's feeling particularly bold. I suspect if it had a reliable human suit, it might be just that much less violent in general. I don't know. I don't think we really want it pretending to be anything it's not, like intelligent. We have enough people who are not intelligent pretending to be intelligent running the country. Or at least taking that role. Even where it's not possible they can dress themselves. So, probably not really running themselves. It's quite unpleasant. We have time for another SCP. Someone wrote a breach with it out on Halloween. You know, if you could refrain from immediately trying to wear anyone as a suit, if you could just hold off on that, it would probably be really popular, especially on Halloween. Same with the Fae one that was in the habit of wearing people. What's wrong with being a skeleton anyway? Honestly, I think these skeletons are very insecure with themselves and need to just be okay in their own lack of skin. Skeletons are awesome. I'm a big fan of skeletons. They're kind of synonymous with being brain-dead puppets. But whether or not, well, they got a lot of charm. And remember, every last one of you, including me, has a skeleton inside them, waiting to be free. And regardless of your skin tone, those bones are probably white. Except for rare conditions where some supplements have dyed them interesting colors. I remember hearing about one that would dye one's bones green, and I was awfully tempted to take it, just because it'd be really kind of funny if I surprised some mortician with my bones being green. But it seems like a bit of effort, and probably has other unpleasant side effects. Strictly speaking, though, all bones white. One more piece of common ground for all of humanity, if one isn't so stupid as to demonize a color itself. Which is what we're seeing an awful lot of as it happens. Greetings, Ganim! Is it going to be part of the thing taken off? Yes. Well, yes. And that was a bit of a problem with the sentient skeleton. It didn't really care that it was killing someone in the process of putting on the suit, but had been tiring of it quickly, discarding it in favor of choosing another. This one immediately got sick of wearing a D-class the moment the D-class interacted with was not, keen on interacting with what to their perspective is, well, basically a zombie. Assuming it had managed to keep the eye sockets filled. Kind of a big X there. Gadam, if you want to wear, we have a raffle. Perhaps you would like to win the raffle for Hard Space Shipbreaker. If you haven't heard of that game and you're curious about potentially entering the raffle for that game, please do. Meanwhile, we're up to 14 concurrent viewers, which means that we could potentially hit 13 likes, making this stream a success. And I do believe we can fit in another SCP. Did anyone have ideally a short one? Dragon the Far Soul has requested SCP-1089 coming up. I say that, we're up to 10 likes, from my perspective, and down to 12 viewers. I'm being trolled. SCP-1089 item, SCP-1089, object class, safe. Special treatment procedures. Due to frequent usage, SCP-1089 is to be kept in a 2 meter by 2 meter metal containment cell. The door to the cell is to remain electronically locked at all times, and only the designated researchers will be given the keypad code. No other personnel are to be given admittance without level 3 security clearance. Description: SCP-1089 appears to be similar in design to some models of night vision goggles. And, just for the record, Dragon of Firesoul, I'm pretty sure we haven't done this one before. So, good choice. There is a large spherical compartment containing many image intensifier tubes attached to the center of the helmet between the two eyepieces. It is constructed primarily of black high-impact plastic and features a radial knob with 5 settings on the left side. On the back side of the center-mounted sphere is a canister containing several SCP-1089-P. When the radial knob is set to 4, it is empty on every other setting. The interior of the helmet contains a small metal plate imprinted the words the IC-UC. SCP-1089-P are several small pills, roughly 1.5 millimeters in length. Pills are initially covered in a gray coat of gelatin. This coating can be carefully scraped off, revealing what appears to be a complex microchip. Further examination has proven impossible as SCP-1089-P's interior components dissolve the instant the pill is pierced. SCP-1089 was recovered when Ulrich Pfaffenapper, a known prominent customer of MC&D, was arrested and his assets were scheduled to be seized. Ulrich Pfaffenapper's mansion was raided by Foundation agents, and SCP-1089, SCP Redacted, and SCP also Redacted were quickly recovered from a wall safe before either Marshal Carter and Dark or government personnel arrived on scene. SCP-1089 exhibits its anomalous properties when worn and activated. The goggles override the wearer's sense of sight, causing the wearer, henceforth referred to as Observer, to be able to see through the eyes of another specific person. This specific person becomes marked by ingesting SCP-1089-P, and this effect persists for an unknown and possibly permanent duration. The observer remains self-aware while watching the marked individual, and SCP-1089 appears to block all sound. Researchers have reported being unable to hear anything while observing. There appear to be several channels depending on the setting of the radial knob, and each active channel has its own marked individual. SCP-1089-P seems to be linked to the channels the goggles are set to, when set to any channel except 4, the compartment is completely empty. Subject 10891 was given a pill from 4. After ingestion, the compartment was empty when it had contained several pills only moments earlier. Immediate termination of D-1089-1 shows the link expires when the marked individual dies, and compartment 4 was automatically refilled. All researchers used as observers have been recording their experiences in a shared research journal. Channel information is as follows. Greetings, Carlos Castreo. It's been a while. Glad you could make it. And we're up to 13 likes! Yay! Pretend there's confetti going around. Or don't. I'll imagine it. And remind myself that I really need to remember to install those. Thank you, Khaled. That'll do. Carlos Castreo, we are raffling off Shipbreaker Hardspace, or Hardspace Shipbreaker. If you would like that game, you should probably tag me in chat and let me know that you want to raffle for it. Meanwhile, we need to finish this SCP in the remaining time. Note, for simplicity's sake, the marked individuals for each channel will be denoted as SCP-1089-X, where X is the active channel. Channel 1 appears to be blank, continues to be blank as long as it's been observed no SCP-1089-P exists for compartment 1, so it has been unavailable for testing. Observation to continue as scheduled. 2. SCP-1089-2 is an individual of unknown gender in a padded cell at an unknown location. It is suspected that 1089-2 may be forcibly restrained, as little to no movement has been observed every day at precisely 0800, 1300, and 1800, a woman of medium age and build wearing a plain grey dress and glasses entered the room with what appears to be a bowl of food paste. The woman spends 5 to 10 minutes feeding SCP-1089-2 and promptly leaves with the empty bowl. As far as has been observed, she has never attempted to converse with SCP-1089-2 during these feeding times. Foundation agents have been investigating the identity of the woman, but thus far she remains unknown to Foundation personnel. Observation to continue as scheduled. If that's all they can observe, that would imply that well, whoever that is, they're in a really shitty asylum. And I do mean that objectively. An objectively shitty asylum. Because they only mention the captive being fed, not chamber pots being taken out or any real cleaning involved. Your wrong is now in the raffle for Hardspace Shipbreaker. You are marked. You will be in for the running. Yes. Again, no, not soft space shitbreaker. Hard space shipbreaker. I assume. Okay, Ganem has joined the raffle. Well, excellent. We have a good competition here. That's dramatic. Interesting. Did you indicate that you want to be in the raffle, Spectre Pound 799? Because I don't seem to recall you tagging me to say you want in the raffle. But if you want in the raffle, you can get in on the raffle. Just noting. Do you want in on the raffle? Because if you don't want in on the raffle, Spectre Pound 799, then you're not. If you do want in the raffle, now's a great time to be observing that you want to be on the raffle. Okay, Spectre is in on the raffle. I guess that was a very convincing trailer. You would be perhaps surprised how few games have had this much competition for it. High drama. Much appreciated. Well, high drama as far as I care to have any sort of drama. Just feels so anticlimactic when it's just one person. I'll roll the number and just go, you won. It feels... Moving on. 3. Based upon information gathered from observation, investigation of the identity of SCP-1089-3 has been successful. SCP-1089-3 is the estranged father of Ulfric Ferguson. It is not known why Ulfric was watching his father, nor is it deemed scientifically relevant. Investigation discontinued and observation stopped. Channel 4. Channel 4 was cleared for testing on D-level personnel, and due to having complete control over SCP-1089-4, this was to be the primary channel observation. No further testing is to be allowed without O5 approval. First, D-1089-1 ingested SCP-1089-P and became SCP-1089-4. 1089-4 was briefly observed before termination. SCP-1084, surgically blinded, was observed next. Observation of SCP-1089-4/2 was reported to be blank in a manner consistent with Channel 1. D-1089-2 was then scheduled for immediate termination so that the channel could be freed up for more useful research. D-1089-3 ingested SCP-1089-P and was placed in solitary confinement for a period of 48 hours, as it seems there are no adverse effects from SCP-1089-P other than linking the target for observation. SCP-1089-43 was reassigned to SCP-Redacted. 5. SCP-1089-5 has now been identified from information gathered from Mirrors and Reflective Services. He is a Japanese businessman named... I'm not trying to pronounce that. M.H., CEO of Redacted Inc., located in Redacted. Observation to continue as scheduled. Update. Redacted date. Observation reports that SCP-1089-5 is no longer M.H., but is instead an unknown female. It is not known when or how this change occurred, but Foundation agents are in the process of investigating the new SCP-1089-52. Update! Newspapers confirm that M.H. was murdered between the time he was last observed the first time the new female SCP-1089-52 was observed. Update! SCP-1089-52 has been identified as H.P., a wealthy heiress living in Redacted. Observation to continue as scheduled. Data expunged. Update! As expected, SCP-1089-517 was also reported murdered. Investigations into identity of SCP-1089-518 has begun. Observation to continue as scheduled. Addendum 1089. Testing of SCP-1089 is to be immediately halted, and SCP-1089-4 immediately terminated as per instructions. from O5 redacted. Instruction from O5. Effective immediately, discontinue use of SCP-1089P while on site. That Channel 5 changed without action from us. Suggests that there are more goggles and channels are shared between them. We don't know who has been watching, but since redacted date, we've given them crystal clear surveillance of the inside of our secure facility, as well as SCP redacted. Kill the link to Channel 4 and continue observation of the other channels. Channel 4 is now to remain blank, and Channel 5 is to be designated as your new primary observation. Disciplinary action to follow. O5 redacted. This is good timing. We are in the final 9 minutes. And this is an excellent time to start with the raffle. This is your last chance, if you haven't already signed up for the raffle, to join the list. The game will be raffled off like a rare loot drop in some aging MMO played by hipsters to try to capture their wasted youth. Or EverQuest 2. Oh, Kellett's entering for the game as well. We have Nexus, Draconath, You're Wrong, Gainim, Spectre, Pound799, and now Kalett. Before we finalize the raffle list, I'm going to play the trailer one more time. This is the game we're all competing for. By virtue of cosmic chance of giving you a number.
Remember this. Measure twice, cut once. The tethers are your friends. Don't sweat it. Happens to the best of us. One bad move and boom!
We're expendable. None of us are safe.
Oh no! Oh
no! Injury detected. Please return to work. Remember, the company is your family, and we will keep you safe from harm.
You know, I have to say, this trailer does remind me of someone who's apparently really angry over the game Deep Rock Galactic. This, of course, comes from the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, so we can rest assured they had absolutely nothing intelligent to say regardless, but just really extraordinary to be really mad at people for being angry about space dwarves. Because, of course, to their eye, it was, a horror story about corporate overreach of dwarves in space. That's neither here nor there. Before we get to the raffle, thank you all. I appreciate your attention. No refunds on that. I couldn't give it back anyway. It's too late. That's the thing about attention. It's like time. Once it's gone forever. But yes, we're not raffling off Deep Space Galactic, so I probably shouldn't mention that. Deep Rock Galactic. It's a great game, though. If you haven't tried it yet, you should, for Rock and Stone. Okay, on to the raffle, everyone.
We're rich!
That's a worthy addition. Everyone who has played it extensively surely knows where that's from. First off, Nexus Hunter, the first to sign up for the raffle. We're basically going to take turns rolling up numbers from random.org, which uses cosmic background space radiation to randomly choose a number. Although sometimes the numbers are so funny as to make one question, is it really random? But suffice to say, it's as fair as it can get. Nexus Hunter, your number is 7. This doesn't look good for you, I'm afraid. Next up, Draconath. Your number is 23. It's possible, but not great either. Next up, You're Wrong. Your number is 94. Well, aren't you lucky? However, it's not certain. Someone could roll higher than 94. Next up, Ganon. Your number is 18. You are not in the lead. Sympathies. Finally, next up, Spectre Pound799, who is in the raffle, just in time. Your number is 67. It's not a winner, but it is a potentially funny number. But just 2 numbers higher would at least been worth a chuckle. Finally, Kaylet, who rolled 59. Thank you all for joining the raffle, and this is not the only game that will be raffled. Next Thursday, I'll be raffling off another game. And the Thursday after that, another game still. I was going to raffle it off on Sunday as well, but I don't know. Kind of feels better to do it here. Or should I do it on the Sunday show? I'll worry about that later. But suffice to say, there'll be more raffles, and if it's not the SRS, and I'm running it, there's a good chance I'll be having a raffle on it. You could just see. You're wrong, you've won. I will be getting your key to you in the very near future. Meanwhile, we have 4 minutes remaining, which isn't enough time to do any other SCPs. Because if I did another one, it would take me into huge overtime and possibly another hour if it was a particularly long one, and I don't want. So, I suppose we should just go over the rest of my schedule. Tomorrow is the next SRS. If you're not familiar with that, it's now on the streaming service that rhymes with Bumble. It will also be starting an hour earlier than usual. Because this is now the new usual. Why? Look, it's a personal schedule thingy. I don't have to explain myself to you. But yes, almost all my shows now start at 5 p.m. CST, or whatever an hour ago was wherever you are. So on and so forth. Thank you for joining me, Spectre £7.799. You and any other creator with their own YouTube channel, their own regular shows, now's a great time to post your links. Does anyone not have a link they want to share but they can't for some reason?
Nope.
That doesn't look like it. Dragon on the Parasol, I remember we talked on one of Sparky's streams, so it seemed like it's a chance possibly that you have your own Charlie one. You've got a wrench now to do it if you wanted to. No? Okay, well. Friday, SRS. Saturday, absolutely nothing. Sunday, the Article Wade. Monday, on my Discord server, in the theater as ordered on wish.com, will be the next Monday movie night. I'm not entirely sure what we're watching. I believe it's going to involve something called Dead Inside and possibly motivational growth if I can find it. You know, because supposedly it's a novel contrast, or at least the same theme as Appendage, a recent comedy horror that was an extravagant metaphor for narcissistic personality disorder. I recommend it, even if it is a bit of a slog. It's a bit slow, and not quite as funny as it might have intended to be. But in any case, next Tuesday, of course, Side Quest. I imagine you're all familiar with Side Quest. If you aren't familiar with Side Quest, you probably should become familiar with Side Quest. Reputedly, it's a great show. Even if I have to be Arcturus. In any case, this has been a success. And I'm done here. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to check out Spectre799's stuff. And I hope to see you on the next show. Next shows, really. If you can make them all, that'd be great. If you can't, though, I'll understand. Meanwhile, so long as progress continues, success is inevitable. Ostensibly. And barring setbacks, like a global nuclear war or something. Not that that's likely.